Welcome, dear seekers of the eerie and the unexplained, to Whispers in the Dark, your sanctuary for all things haunting and mysterious. In a world where the mundane often overshadows the mystical, we stand as torchbearers illuminating the path to the unknown, delving deep into realms where reality blurs with nightmare. Here, amidst the flickering glow of our screens and the hum of restless curiosity, we invite you to step beyond the veil of the ordinary and explore the chilling depths of the United States' most haunted beaches. Tonight marks the premiere of our spine-tingling series, Top Most Haunted Beaches in the United States. Over the course of this journey, we will traverse through time and space, uncovering the dark secrets and spectral whispers that linger along these sandy shores. From abandoned lighthouses to ghost-ridden tide pools, each location is steeped in history and shrouded in tales too unsettling to be forgotten. These are not mere urban legends whispered in hushed tones or folklore spun to entertain. No, these are documented encounters, real people, real places, and real horrors that have left indelible marks on those who dared to witness them. As storytellers, our mission is clear: to peel back the layers of fear and fascination, crafting an atmosphere thick with suspense and intrigue. We aim not only to recount these tales but to immerse you in their chilling depths, making every creak of the floorboards and whisper in the dark feel as though it's happening right beside you. With every word, we strive to evoke the same visceral reactions felt by those who lived through these harrowing events, those fleeting moments when the impossible becomes undeniable. So, dear viewers and listeners, prepare yourselves for a journey into the abyss. Here, in the dim glow of your screens, we invite you to open your minds, and perhaps brace your hearts, as we reveal the terrifying truths hidden within the folds of reality. Welcome to a world where the past whispers, the present trembles, and the future remains shrouded in mystery. Let's step into the darkness together, where every shadow might just conceal more than anyone bargained for. In this inaugural episode, we will uncover the haunted tapestry of America's storied past. Each tale is a thread woven into the fabric of local lore, echoing through the ages and beckoning us to listen closely. Join us as we embark on this chilling odyssey, exploring the eerie corridors of haunted locations that continue to captivate and terrify. Stay tuned, for the shadows hold many secrets, and the night is young. The Phantom Lighthouse Keeper of Cape Hatteras, a beacon of terror nestled along the windswept shores of North Carolina, lies one of the most iconic and enigmatic landmarks in the United States, the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse. Known as the Graveyard of the Atlantic, this stretch of coastline has claimed countless ships and lives over the centuries, its treacherous waters earning it a reputation as one of the deadliest maritime regions in the world. Yet, beneath its towering beacon lies a dark legacy of tragedy, loss, and unexplained phenomena that has earned it a place among the most haunted beaches on the continent. The Cape Hatteras Lighthouse, first lit in 1870, stands as a sentinel against the dangers of the sea, its black and white spiral design a stark contrast to the endless expanse of sand and surf. For decades, the lighthouse guided sailors safely to shore, its light piercing through the fog and storms that plagued the Outer Banks. However, as the years passed, the lighthouse bore witness to a series of personal tragedies. Its keepers, tasked with maintaining the beacon, faced isolation, illness, and untimely deaths. It is said that the spirits of these keepers, along with those of drowned sailors, still roam the beach, unable, or unwilling, to leave the place they once guarded. Today, the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse operates as a museum and tourist attraction, drawing thousands of visitors annually. Yet, for those who dare to explore its darker corners, the beach reveals a side that defies logic and reason. Paranormal investigators and thrill-seekers alike have reported strange occurrences throughout the area, from disembodied footsteps echoing across the sand to ghostly apparitions glimpsed in the crashing waves. Among the most frequently cited locations of activity are the base of the lighthouse, the nearby keeper's quarters, and the shoreline itself, a place where the boundary between land and sea seems to blur into uncertainty. One particularly chilling account comes from a group of paranormal enthusiasts who conducted an overnight investigation during a full moon. Armed with EMF detectors, thermal cameras, and audio recorders, the team ventured into areas typically off-limits to the public. Their goal was simple: to document any evidence of supernatural activity rumored to plague the site. What they encountered, however, would haunt them forever. The footage begins innocently enough, with shaky camera angles capturing the intricate brickwork of the lighthouse and the rhythmic crash of the waves against the shore. Laughter echoes faintly as the group jokes about the ghost stories surrounding Cape Hatteras. But as they descend deeper into the dunes, the atmosphere shifts palpably. The air grows colder, their breath visible in the moonlight, and the laughter falters. At the 15-minute mark, the first anomaly appears. A faint, distorted voice whispers from the shadows, audible only when the audio is played back. None of the group seems to hear it in real time, yet the camera captures it with eerie clarity. Minutes later, the group enters the keeper's quarters, a weathered structure that once housed the lighthouse's caretakers. The camera lingers on a rusted iron bed frame, its mattress long gone, frozen in place like the hands of a clock stopped mid-tick. Suddenly, the lights above flicker, casting erratic shadows across the walls. One of the investigators, visibly unnerved, mutters, "Did someone touch that?" before stepping back. No one had. The camera shakes violently as the group scrambles to leave the room, their panicked breathing filling the audio track. The climax occurs on the beach itself, where the group had set up a makeshift observation post. Here, the camera captures something truly inexplicable, a translucent figure standing near the water's edge, its form flickering like static on an old television. The figure raises an arm, pointing directly at the group before vanishing in an instant. The friends freeze, their faces pale with terror, before bolting toward the safety of their vehicle. The final moments of the video show them fleeing into the night, their screams echoing into the void. This chilling encounter, preserved in grainy footage, has since been analyzed by paranormal investigators and skeptics alike. Some argue that the anomalies could be explained by environmental factors, electromagnetic interference, or psychological suggestion, but others insist that the evidence points to something far more sinister. Whatever the truth may be, the Cape Hatteras incident remains one of the most compelling examples of the supernatural caught on camera, a stark reminder that some doors, once opened, can never truly be closed. Today, the lighthouse continues to welcome visitors eager to experience its beauty and history. Yet, for those attuned to the whispers of the past, the beach offers more than just a glimpse into maritime splendor. It provides a portal to a realm where the boundaries between the living and the dead blur into uncertainty. Whether you believe in ghosts or dismiss them as figments of the imagination, Cape Hatteras stands as a testament to the enduring power of fear, and the mysteries that lie just beyond the reach of human understanding. The cursed waters of Pfeiffer Beach, a place where shadows linger nestled along the rugged coastline of Big Sur, California, lies Pfeiffer Beach. A secluded stretch of sand known for its striking purple sands and dramatic rock formations. While its natural beauty draws photographers and adventurers alike, the beach also harbors a dark secret, one whispered about in hushed tones by locals and dismissed by outsiders as mere superstition. Beneath its picturesque surface lies a history of tragedy and unexplainable phenomena that has earned it a reputation as one of the most haunted beaches in the United States. Pfeiffer Beach's origins are steeped in legend. According to local lore, the beach was once home to a Native American tribe that revered the land as sacred. When European settlers arrived, they clashed with the indigenous people, leading to bloodshed and displacement. It is said that the spirits of those who perished remain tethered to the beach, their cries carried on the wind and their forms glimpsed in the mist that rolls in from the ocean. Over the years, reports of strange occurrences have surfaced, from ghostly apparitions walking along the shore to eerie whispers emanating from the rocks. One such encounter occurred in the summer of 2019, when a family rented a nearby cabin for a weekend getaway. What began as a peaceful retreat quickly spiraled into something far darker. It started with small, inexplicable occurrences. Seashells scattered across the sand when no one had touched them, faint whispers heard in empty caves, and the distinct feeling of being watched. At first, the family dismissed these incidents as the quirks of an older coastline settling into its bones. But soon, the disturbances escalated. One evening, while the family gathered around a bonfire on the beach, their nanny cam, positioned to monitor the children playing nearby, captured something that would change their lives forever. The timestamp on the footage read 9:47 p.m. The camera angle was fixed, offering a wide view of the brightly lit scene. Toys sat untouched, the air was still, and the faint crackle of the fire provided the only sound. Then, without warning, the flames flickered wildly, though no breeze stirred the air. A shadow, tall and humanoid in shape, slipped into the frame. It moved with deliberate slowness, its form shifting unnaturally as though it were made of smoke rather than flesh. The shadow paused by the toy chest, extended an arm-like appendage, and then vanished as abruptly as it had appeared. When the family reviewed the footage the following morning, disbelief quickly gave way to dread. The shadow was unlike anything they had ever seen, its movements too fluid and purposeful to be explained away as a trick of light or shadow. Panic set in as they realized the entity had entered their space while they were mere feet away, oblivious to its presence. Over the next few days, the shadow grew bolder. It began appearing in multiple locations, always captured by the cameras but never witnessed directly by the family. The nanny cam once recorded it standing near the water's edge, its featureless head tilted downward as though studying the waves. Another clip showed it lingering in a cave, its form elongating unnaturally as it stretched toward the ceiling before dissipating. Each appearance left the family more shaken, their sense of safety eroding with every passing day. Desperate for answers, the father reached out to a local paranormal investigator, Dr. Laura Bennett, whose expertise lay in analyzing unexplained phenomena. Dr. Bennett arrived at the beach armed with EMF detectors, thermal imaging cameras, and a healthy dose of skepticism. After setting up her equipment, she conducted a thorough sweep of the area. The results were inconclusive at first, but during a nighttime vigil, her thermal camera captured something extraordinary. The footage showed a heat signature moving across the sand, its shape unmistakably humanoid. Unlike the shadowy figure from the nanny cam, this entity emitted a cold aura, registering well below ambient temperature on the thermal scale. It paused near a cluster of rocks, lingered for several seconds, and then disappeared. Dr. Bennett noted that the entity seemed to avoid direct contact with the family, instead observing them from a distance. She theorized that it might be an intelligent spirit, bound to the beach for reasons unknown. Despite Dr. Bennett's efforts, the shadow's appearances continued. The family tried everything to rid themselves of the intruder, smudging the area with sage, rearranging their belongings to disrupt energy flows, and even consulting a medium. Nothing worked. The shadow remained a constant, silent presence, its motives as inscrutable as its origin. Eventually, the strain became unbearable. The mother began experiencing vivid nightmares, waking up in tears with no memory of what she had dreamed. The children refused to play alone, claiming that the man in the dark was watching them. Even the father, who had initially dismissed the phenomenon as stress-induced paranoia, found himself unable to shake the feeling that something malevolent was sharing their space. The breaking point came one stormy night. The power went out, plunging the beach into darkness. As the family huddled together near the fire, the baby monitor crackled to life. On the small screen, the shadow loomed large, its form pulsating as though alive. It reached toward the camera, its movements jerky and aggressive. Then, the screen went black. Terrified, the family fled the beach that night, leaving behind everything except their most essential belongings. They rented a temporary apartment and placed their home on the market, hoping to sever ties with the entity once and for all. The property sold quickly, but the new owners reported similar disturbances within weeks of moving in. Today, the family refuses to speak publicly about their ordeal, fearing ridicule or worse. However, the nanny cam footage remains, a chilling testament to the shadow that walked alone. Experts who have studied the recordings remain divided. Some believe the entity is a residual haunting, a fragment of energy trapped in time. Others argue it is an intelligent spirit, possibly malevolent, drawn to the emotional turmoil of the family. Whatever the truth, one thing is certain: the shadow at Pfeiffer Beach is a reminder that some mysteries are better left unsolved. The whispering tides of Assateague Island, a descent into madness nestled along the eastern seaboard of Maryland and Virginia, lies Assateague Island, a sprawling expanse of wilderness known for its wild horses, pristine beaches, and untamed beauty. Spanning miles of sandy shores, marshlands, and dense forests, the area has long been a haven for campers, nature enthusiasts, and adventurers seeking solitude. Yet beneath its serene exterior lies a dark secret, one whispered about in hushed tones by locals and dismissed by outsiders as mere superstition. But for those who dare to venture too far into its depths, the island reveals a side that defies logic and sanity. The story begins with Ethan Cole, a seasoned backpacker and amateur videographer who prided himself on exploring the most remote and untouched corners of the natural world. Ethan had heard the legends surrounding Assateague Island, tales of campers vanishing without a trace, strange noises echoing through the dunes, and an overwhelming sense of dread that enveloped anyone who lingered too long. Skeptical but intrigued, Ethan decided to document his journey through the island, hoping to either debunk the myths or uncover something extraordinary. Equipped with a GoPro strapped to his chest, a GPS tracker, and a sturdy hiking pack, Ethan set out on a crisp autumn morning. The early footage captures the beauty of the island in vivid detail, golden sands stretching endlessly, sunlight glinting off the waves, and the gentle rustle of the wind through the dunes. Ethan narrates his progress with enthusiasm, his voice steady and confident as he describes the terrain and shares tidbits of local lore. They call it the Whispering Tides because of the sound the water makes as it moves through the shore, he explains. But I've got a feeling there's more to it than that. For the first few hours, Ethan's trek proceeds without incident. He stops periodically to film landmarks, a cascading stream, a moss-covered rock formation, and a clearing bathed in sunlight. However, as he ventures deeper into the island, subtle changes begin to occur. The temperature drops noticeably, despite the bright sun overhead. The chirping of birds fades into silence, replaced by an eerie stillness that feels unnatural. And then, there are the whispers. At first, they are faint, barely audible murmurs carried on the breeze. Ethan pauses, tilting his head as if trying to discern their source. Probably just the wind, he mutters, though his tone betrays a hint of unease. But as he continues walking, the whispers grow louder and more distinct. They seem to come from all directions, overlapping and unintelligible, yet undeniably human in origin. Ethan's camera captures his growing discomfort. His steps quicken, and his narration becomes sporadic, punctuated by nervous laughter. By late afternoon, the whispers have evolved into a cacophony, drowning out all other sounds. Ethan's GPS device begins malfunctioning, its signal flickering erratically before dying altogether. Panic sets in as he realizes he is lost, the familiar trail markers nowhere to be found. The camera footage becomes increasingly disorienting, the frame jostling as Ethan stumbles through the underbrush. His breathing grows labored, and his voice cracks as he pleads for the whispers to stop. "What do you want from me?" he shouts into the void, his words swallowed by the relentless din. The climax of Ethan's ordeal occurs as daylight begins to wane. The camera captures a narrow path leading to a cluster of ancient, gnarled trees whose branches twist skyward like skeletal fingers. In the center of the clearing stands a crude stone altar, its surface stained with what appears to be dried blood. Surrounding it are dozens of weathered carvings, symbols and runes that defy translation. Ethan hesitates, his body trembling as he approaches the altar. The whispers crescendo into a deafening roar, and the camera shakes violently as Ethan collapses to his knees. "I see them," he gasps, his voice barely audible over the noise. "They're everywhere." The final seconds of the footage show Ethan staring directly into the lens, his eyes wide with terror. Behind him, shadowy figures emerge from the trees, their forms indistinct but undeniably humanoid. The screen cuts to black as the camera falls to the ground. Ethan's disappearance sparked a massive search effort, but no trace of him was ever found. The recovered footage, uploaded posthumously by his family, has since become a subject of intense scrutiny. Experts who analyze the symbols carved into the altar suggest they may belong to an obscure pagan cult that once inhabited the region. Others propose that the island itself harbors a malevolent force, feeding on the fear and confusion of those who enter. Regardless of the explanation, Assateague Island remains a place of mystery and dread. Campers who stray too far from marked trails report hearing the same whispers that plagued Ethan, while others claim to have seen shadowy figures lurking among the trees. The forest, it seems, does not relinquish its secrets easily, and those who dare to uncover them may find themselves paying the ultimate price. The Midnight Ferry, a journey beyond the living in the heart of Seattle, where the city's skyline pierces the heavens and the streets buzz with ceaseless activity, lies a tale that has woven itself into the fabric of urban legend, the story of the Midnight Ferry. This spectral vessel, shrouded in mystery and whispered about in hushed tones, is said to traverse the waters of Puget Sound, carrying with it the echoes of a tragic past. The legend speaks of a ferry that appears only at the stroke of midnight, gliding silently across the waves long forsaken by modern transit. Its origins trace back to the early 20th century, a time when ferries were the lifelines of commerce and communication. On a fateful night in 1923, a passenger ferry capsized under mysterious circumstances, claiming the lives of all aboard. Since then, sightings of a ghostly ferry matching the description of the ill-fated vessel have been reported by night workers, homeless individuals, and curious thrill-seekers drawn to the allure of the unknown. One such seeker was Marcus Lee, a freelance journalist with a penchant for the paranormal. Marcus had spent months researching urban legends across the Pacific Northwest, but none intrigued him as much as the Midnight Ferry. Determined to separate fact from fiction, he decided to stake out one of the rumored routes, a stretch of water hidden beneath the city's elevated highways. Armed with a high-definition camera, a flashlight, and a thermos of coffee, Marcus settled into his makeshift observation post, a crumbling dock that once served bustling commuters. As the clock struck 12, the air grew heavy, and an unnatural silence fell over the area. Moments later, a distant rumble echoed through the water, growing louder with each passing second. From the darkness emerged the ferry, its lanterns dim and flickering, casting eerie shadows along the waves. The vessel was a relic of another era, its paint peeling and windows clouded with grime. Yet, it moved with an uncanny smoothness, as if guided by an unseen hand. Marcus's camera captured every detail as he cautiously approached the ferry. The doors creaked open, revealing interiors bathed in a sickly green hue. Rows of passengers sat motionless, their faces pale and expressionless, staring blankly ahead. Despite the chill in the air, Marcus felt beads of sweat forming on his brow. Summoning his courage, he stepped aboard, the camera trembling in his grip. Inside, the atmosphere was suffocating. The air smelled of damp earth and something metallic, akin to blood. The whispers began softly, almost imperceptible, but soon swelled into a chorus of anguished voices. Marcus recognized fragments of phrases, pleas for help, cries of despair, all spoken in languages he couldn't understand. The camera footage shows him backing away, his breath coming in shallow gasps, as the ferry began to move without warning. The journey lasted only minutes, but to Marcus, it felt like an eternity. The ferry sped through waters that seemed to stretch infinitely, the waves adorned with cryptic symbols that pulsed with faint light. At one point, the camera captures a fleeting glimpse of the captain, a gaunt figure cloaked in shadows, his eyes glowing with an otherworldly intensity. Marcus's narration becomes frantic, his voice breaking as he describes the sensation of being pulled toward the front of the ferry, as though an invisible force sought to claim him. The ordeal ends abruptly as the ferry screeches to a halt. The doors slam shut, and Marcus finds himself back on the dock, alone and disoriented. The footage cuts to black as he collapses, the camera falling from his grasp. When he regained consciousness hours later, the ferry was gone, leaving behind only the faint scent of salt water and the lingering echo of its horn. Marcus's account, corroborated by the chilling footage, has since fueled countless debates among paranormal enthusiasts. Some believe the Midnight Ferry is a vessel for lost souls, condemned to relive their final moments in an endless loop. Others argue it is a manifestation of collective grief, a spectral reminder of the tragedy that befell its passengers. Regardless of the interpretation, the story of the Midnight Ferry serves as a haunting testament to the enduring power of the past, and the thin veil that separates the living from the dead. As we sift through the harrowing narratives of Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, Route 60, Cheat Lake Cabin, and the enigmatic Shadow at the Whispering Woods, a tapestry of eerie consistencies begins to emerge, weaving a complex pattern of supernatural phenomena. These stories, disparate in location and circumstance, share uncanny similarities that beckon us to look deeper into the nature of these haunting encounters. Firstly, the element of auditory disturbances manifests prominently across these accounts. From the whispering voices that plagued Sarah on Route 60 to the chilling whispers captured in the corridors of Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, sound plays a critical role in escalating the tension and unease. These auditory phenomena not only unsettle the witnesses but also serve as precursors to more tangible manifestations, suggesting a methodical escalation typical of intelligent hauntings. Visual anomalies form another thread connecting these tales. The ghostly apparitions seen through Hiroshi's camera at Akake Apartments, and the shadowy figure that stalked the Carter family are indicative of a spectral presence capable of interacting with our physical world. These visual cues are not random but appear to target specific locations and individuals, hinting at a conscious, albeit non-corporeal, intent behind these manifestations. Furthermore, the technological interference observed, from the malfunctioning ride controls of the vortex to the inexplicable camera glitches in the Carter home, points to a sophisticated manipulation of electromagnetic fields by these entities. This manipulation suggests a level of intelligence and purpose, reinforcing the theory that these are not mere echoes of the past but active, sentient forces attempting to communicate or influence their environments. Moreover, the psychological impact on the witnesses cannot be overlooked. Each account details a profound transformation in the mental state of those involved, from initial skepticism to overwhelming dread. This psychological shift is crucial as it indicates the entity's ability to affect human emotions and perceptions, further blurring the line between the physical and the metaphysical realms. Lastly, the geographical dispersion of these incidents, from the remote forests of upstate New York to the bustling streets of Tokyo and the suburban tranquility of Portland, raises intriguing questions about the universality of such phenomena. Are these isolated incidents, or do they represent a broader spectrum of supernatural activity occurring globally? The recurrence of similar themes and effects across diverse settings suggests a universal element to these encounters, possibly linked to human consciousness or the inherent properties of certain locations. In synthesizing these observations, we begin to see a framework of supernatural behavior that transcends individual stories. These shared characteristics not only validate the experiences of the witnesses but also provide a foundation for further exploration into the mechanisms and motivations of these mysterious entities. As we continue to gather and analyze such cases, the patterns become clearer, drawing us closer to understanding the enigmatic forces that dwell in the shadows of our reality. As we draw this chilling journey to a close, let us pause to reflect on the profound implications of the stories we've explored. These harrowing encounters, etched into the annals of recorded history through grainy footage, distorted audio, and fragmented memories, are more than mere curiosities. They are stark reminders that the boundaries of our understanding are far more permeable than we dare to admit. The supernatural, whether it manifests as ghostly apparitions, shadowy figures, or malevolent forces, challenges the very foundations of what we consider reality. It forces us to confront the uncomfortable truth that there are dimensions beyond our perception, realms where the rules of logic and physics dissolve into the unknowable. These documented events serve as undeniable proof that the unseen is not merely a figment of imagination or a product of overactive minds. They compel us to reevaluate our relationship with the spaces we inhabit, the tools we use, and even the technology we rely on. Consider the cameras that capture these phenomena. Devices designed to record the tangible, yet they have inadvertently become portals to the intangible. The footage from Blackwood Asylum, Route 47, Akake Apartments, and the shadow at 1428 Maple Street does more than document the supernatural. It invites us to question the limitations of human perception. Are these anomalies glitches in our reality, or are they deliberate attempts by otherworldly entities to bridge the gap between their world and ours? Yet, the implications of these encounters extend far beyond the individual stories themselves. Collectively, they paint a picture of a universe teeming with mysteries that defy explanation. Each incident, whether rooted in sorrow, tragedy, or malevolence, suggests a connection between the living and the dead, the seen and the unseen. The whispers in the asylum, the phantom hitchhiker on the desolate road, the cursed lens of Hiroshi's camera, and the shadow that stalked the Carter family, all of these point to a shared truth, that the past is never truly gone, and the spirits of those who came before may linger, tethered to places, objects, or even emotions. This realization carries a weight that extends beyond fear. It speaks to the enduring bonds between humanity and the metaphysical, urging us to approach the unknown with both caution and reverence. But what does this mean for us, the observers, the storytellers, and the seekers of truth? It means that we must embrace the uncertainty. The supernatural, by its very nature, resists definition. To study it is to wade into waters where science falters and faith takes root. Yet, it is precisely this ambiguity that makes the pursuit worthwhile. Each unanswered question, each unexplained phenomenon, is an invitation to explore further, to dig deeper into the archives of the unexplained, to listen to the whispers of the past, and to peer into the shadows that dance just beyond the edge of our vision. For those who dare to venture into this realm, the rewards are manifold. The thrill of discovery, the satisfaction of piecing together fragments of the unknown, and the profound sense of awe that comes from brushing against the edges of the inexplicable, all of these make the pursuit of the supernatural a journey worth undertaking. Whether you are a skeptic seeking evidence, or a believer yearning for validation, the stories we've shared today remind us that the search for truth is rarely linear. It is messy, unpredictable, and often unsettling, but it is also deeply human. So, as we leave the shadows behind, for now, we invite you to carry the torch of curiosity. Question the world around you. Listen closely to the stories of those who have faced the unknown. And remember, the next time you pick up a camera, switch on a recorder, or even walk down a dimly lit street, you might just capture something that defies explanation. Because in the end, the supernatural is not merely a subject of fascination, it is a call to wonder, to explore, and to embrace the infinite possibilities that lie just beyond the veil. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the unseen. Until next time, stay curious, stay brave, and never stop questioning the shadows.